I'm very glad to be with you here. What we're trying to make with Rev is trying to build an answer to a very, very important question. That is, how do we become peak performers? And what I've been trying to do, like for a long time ago, is trying to understand what are these um, inner longings, inner needs we all human have, and how can we respond them according to the challenges, the huge challenges that our world is delivering to us. So there is this equilibrium we need to have in our lives, right? We need to answer to these questions, and we also need to answer to this changing world. So how can we do it? And that is what has like pushed ourselves into this huge challenge of trying to give an answer. How can we become peak performers? So like a couple of years ago, I was talking with Manolo Vega and Juliana Diega, which are directors and CEO of executive forums. And we were like saying, okay, how can we help our members? How can we help others that that are very interested in answering this question? How can we help them? And I mentioned them, hey, different cultures along human history have have answered this question. And if you see and if you study like Chinese culture or the Indian culture or Greco-Roman culture, they have all like drawn a map or a journey or a list of virtues, of strengths, of capabilities that if every person in that culture lived them, they thought and they kind of ensure that they were going to be able to be happy or to be successful or to achieve personal growth in whatever way that culture understood it. So the question was, how can we make some path, some journey of personal growth, considering that we're living right now in an extra accelerated world, in a very uncertain world where we actually do not know what is going to happen in a couple of years. How is this COVID going to evolve? How geopolitically, how will it be impacted by a lot of things that are happening right now? So it's a very uncertain world, a very accelerated world, and it's a hyper-connected world. So what is happening right now in our world, and I think we all know it. I'm not going to dive in that issue because it's a long way to go. What is happening right now is that we have a lot of challenges going at the same time. Environmental challenges, environmental problems, economical, geopolitical, personal things. And so in this like very uncertain and accelerated world, how can we grow? And how can we be having like how can we have a very profound and deep, joyful experience of growing, right? So what we've done is during these couple of years, we've been working, talking with a lot of people, and working with multidisciplinary team made of philosophers, psychologists, sociologists, and coaches, to see, okay, which are these human nature elements that need to be considered in order to actually talk about personal growth, and what are these challenges that today's world is like offering to us, and we need to answer them. And how can we combine these two elements? So what we've done is a journey, a seven strengths journey, trying to give people, trying to give you some kind of order, right? But here there's a very important thing. Humankind, it has a very, very unique characteristic, which is that every one of us is unique and unrepeatable. And we all know that, right? So any journey, any path has to be personalized, has to be customized to my own reality. There is no unique recipe for humankind because we are all different. So what we are trying to give you here is like a map, right? It's not a sequential order necessarily. It's not something that is a unique recipe. It's something it's like a map where you need to find, okay, from these seven strengths that I'm going to tell you about, okay, which are those that I need to grow the most? Which are those that I need to focus in this present year? Which are those that my system needs me to focus in this present year or in this couple of years? So flexibility in understanding this journey is a must. Okay. So that being said, let me introduce you with this. Let me share my screen. Okay, there we are. So let me introduce you to this journey. What we are going to see here are mainly seven dimensions or seven strengths that we propose you to grow in. These seven are subdivided in another strengths, and that when I'm going to explain these seven, and you will see how they are all connected, because that's our mystery of human beings. It works that way, all right? We cannot separate our, for example, our relationships with our alignment or with our happiness. It's all integrated. So let's begin with the first mastery, with the first strength. Personal mastery. What's that about? Personal mastery means that we cannot grow and we cannot become peak performers or organizational athletes. We cannot grow in any aspect of our life if we don't first master ourselves, right? Because if you see our lives, we have a lot of strengths. We have a lot of capabilities. We have emotions. We have our reason. We have our will. We have our inner longings. We have a lot of things that are different anthropological elements. So what we need, the first thing that we need in order to grow is to master all of them, to add up all of them. It's like if you want to ride a horse, the first thing you need to do is you have to build a relationship with that horse, and you need to master the horse. If not, all that power that the horse have, all that power is going to lead you but anywhere, right? So in order to have this personal mastery, first thing is we need to be self-conscious. And we have been talking a lot about self-knowledge, but we're trying to make a difference here. Self-knowledge is a very good thing. It's a very, very important thing. But self-knowledge, a lot of times, is presented like a photo, right? Like a picture. And don't stick with the picture. Your life is much more a video. So it's an ever-changing video. So what you really need is not only self-knowledge, but self-consciousness, which is being in daily contact with yourself, with your inner desires. What do I need today? And sometimes feelings are like the window from which you enter to your inner self. but it's not the only window. And don't stay only with your feelings. The question is not what am I feeling today. The question is what do I need today? How am I today? And it has to be enhanced. That's why we're talking about enhanced self-consciousness. It's not about how do I feel. It's about how am I today. And and when we start like doing this question, and what do I need today, and what am I going to conquer today? So when you start doing continuously this question, you will start discovering some patterns that will help you to grow. So that's like the first point. We cannot master what we do not know in this present continuous that is our life. But once we start like being aware of ourselves, then we need to accept a very, very important thing, a very important aspect of our lives, that is vulnerability. There is no way we can grow if we do not accept that we need to grow, that we need to be better persons, that we need to really add some strengths and some victories to our life. There's been like a paradigm, right? That is being like around the world a lot of times. Um, that is, in order to be a peak performer, in order to really succeed in life, you need to be tough. You need to be brave, right? You need to always be like over the horse. Continue with this same metaphor, um, and that is true in some way. It is true we need to be tough. It is true we need to be like always being trying to be in control. But it's not completely true. You know why? Because human nature is by essence imperfect. So we need to embrace imperfection. And what does that mean? It means that we need to accept and to love ourselves with that imperfection, not in despite of imperfection, but with that imperfection. Okay, so how can I love myself with that imperfection? Well, because that's who you are. There's not that ideal, I'm Gabriel, right? There's not that ideal Gabriel, that perfect, that it just doesn't exist. So if I love that ideal Gabriel, I am loving no one actually, or an illusion. And that will ultimately undermine not only my self-esteem, but undermine my happiness. So you need to love who you really are right now. And that implies accepting with courage your vulnerability. It's just the same. Maybe many of you that are listening here have kids. You don't love your like amazing and flawless kid. You love your kid just as he is or as she is, right? So the same happens with us. So we need to accept ourselves, and we need to open ourselves to our vulnerability. Um, if we like continue to try to build this wall of appearance that nothing can hurt us and nothing can really like take us down and nothing can really well, what will happen is that you will try so hard to maintain that wall that you won't be able to grow, because all your energy is going to be focused on maintaining that wall. And the thing is, growing is about energy. Growing is about focusing. Growing is about being able to enroute, to take your energy to the point you want to grow in. So and human energy is not infinite. So if you are going to take your energy to be so tough that nothing can take you down, then you're not going to be able to grow in a lot of things that you need. So brave vulnerability is massive important in order to grow. And self-nurtured discipline. What happens? There's been another paradigm in our era that it's like you need to work so hard and you need to be so harsh on yourself that people, and there's a whole sociological train on it, that there's a complete current that says, okay, let me be who I am, and no more like no more being hard on ourselves. So, and that has, like, as everything in life, has gone all the other way to say, okay, so let's not do any growing effort. So we need to find an equilibrium, right? We need a self-nurtured discipline to discipline ourselves, to be able to be master of ourselves, but self-nurturing, like loving ourselves. So the same way as we treat our kids, or the same way that are treat our loving ones, well, that's the way we need to grow, with that kind of love, with that kind of self-nurtured discipline. So personal mastery is our starting point. Okay, we need to master ourselves, accepting where we are and where we want to be, and with this self-nurtured discipline. Okay, so that's the first and starting point. Once we are working on this personal mastery, what we need is to recognize and enhance this human ability and this human interior need, that is thriving growth. What does thriving growth means for us? Well, it means that even though every human being has this inner longing to grow and to be better, and to build his life, if in our world, in today's world, we want to really grow, we need to live in this continuous momentum. We need to really, like, embrace that energy that is inside us, and see how can we grow each day. And it implies at least three things. The first is self-confident resilience. What does that mean? It means that, hey, you will fail, you will fall. That is normal and that's okay. Well, but you need to stand up, learning. You need to stand up, letting yourself be transformed. Okay. I have a lot of years in like leading leadership programs and coaching and working in organizational cultures. And I can say there are two kind of persons: the one that learn and the ones that do not learn. And the ones that learn, they are humble, because they say, okay, I made a mistake, and now I'm going to learn about it. So if we want to make it like really simple, one of the main like dangers of that for not growing is not being humble, not accepting that, okay, I fall, okay, I failed, but I've learned from it. Okay, so the ability to learn, the ability to be a learner in life, that is very, very, very important. Stubbornness and just keeping like, okay, I'm gonna keep it going and keep it and push it and push it and push it, is not a good way of growing. The best way to grow is to say, okay, stop. Okay, now what have you learned from this? What is life telling you about yourself, about your system, about your life? Are you really hearing what life is telling you? Are you really trying to learn what you didn't know before? And are you really seeing this challenge or this event as a learning event, because only if you do so, you will be able to transform any difficulty, any problem in a growing event. So self-confidence, resilience is like a must. It's a requisite if we talk about thriving growth. Okay, and there's a second one that is very, very important. Is accountable optimism. What do we mean about accountable optimism? Hey, there is there's here another anthropological 101 element that is human beings. We do not embrace any adventure if we think we are going to fail. If we are convinced that we are not going to be able to conquer something, we are not going to start it. So, optimism is something that we need in life. It's not a luxury, right? It is a necessity, because if not, we are not going to grow, and we must educate ourselves and our families and our teams in our work and our society in optimism, but not in a naive optimism. We need to educate ourselves in an accountable optimism, which is, okay, I think we can do it because we have what it takes to do it. I think that we can do it because we are going to do our best to do it. And we are going to be accountable for the results, because we are going to be we're going to be able to do actually this adding up of forces, and we're going to make it. So accountable optimism is like the center of these two poles, right? In one hand, we have this naive optimism, and in the other hand, we have this like over realistic pessimism. Okay, so this is the middle. And of course, we need tenacity, because one of the things that is happening right now in our world is that as there are so many and so many difficulties in every part of the world, you name it. I mean, political, economical, social, environmental, and now sanitary. So as there are so many challenges, you need this tenacity. And if you want to be a peak performer, you have to build this tenacity, which is made, as I've already said, of humility and of accountable optimism. So thriving growth is our second fortress. Okay, we need to feel daily this momentum. We need to feel daily this inner strength that is like calling for growing. Okay, very well. Our third one is reality enabling. And what do we mean about reality enabling? Is, hey, we all want to transform reality, and there's another. This is one of other thing that differentiates, or makes a difference between human species and all other kinds of species that exist in the world. We are the ones that have like transformed the world, for better or worse. That's not what I'm discussing right now, but we are the ones that have transformed the world. We are the ones that have passed from living in caves to living in all these huge megapolis where we live, right? So there's an inner longing in human beings to transform his space, to transform reality. Okay, and okay, so how can we transform reality in this world? Where there are three important things. First of all, we need to grow in a creative curiosity, because there is so much information. There's like really an overload of information, and I think everybody knows that we need to educate our curiosity, educate it to, okay, let's seek and let's study and let's ask all the time in order to create. Okay, because if not, and curiosity has that characteristic, curiosity will be distracted by the most powerful impulse. Okay, and a lot of times the most powerful impulse is related to feelings. So what we need, if we really want to transform today's reality, is to educate our curiosity and enhance our curiosity in order to create. And that means being able to discover patterns. Future is here. I know that there, maybe that's a cliche, but everybody's talking about innovation. Everybody's talking about how can we to respond to the future. Okay, well, what I mean about this is, if you want to be a peak performer, you need to learn to read reality, not only about what you see in the surface, but you need to read what is underlaying the surface, what is implicit in reality. That those are some patterns, those are some trends. That's what is some people are talking about. You need to understand what are those patterns where the future is already manifesting itself. It's already like saying, "Hey, here I am, here I'm coming." So it's not about having a crystal ball. Okay, it's about reading. It's about hearing others. It's about having a lot of conversations. It's about really having a good network. It's about being in the right place at the right moment. So it's about opening your eyes and learning to see life and reality in a different way. Okay, learning to see reality not in the way as, okay, this is what I see and this is what is obvious, but this is what is not obvious, and this is what maybe is coming ahead, because now I can discover some patterns. And once I've discovered those patterns, we need to co-create. Okay, agile co-creation is maybe in no time of history, in any other time of history, has been more necessary than now, because we live in a hyper-connected world, and co-creation is it's not only a millennium trend or a centennial trend. No, agile co-creation has come to stay, because we have all learned, I don't know, in the past 20 years maybe, we have all learned that the only way to answer to a hyper-connected and accelerated world is if we embrace diversity of thinking, right? If we open ourselves to understand the world in different ways, from different aspects. And there's this Japanese proverb that says, no one is more intelligent than every one of us. So, and that's true. So learning to work with different kind of perspectives, learning to work with different kind of generations, with different kind of cultures, is a must today. So if we really want to become peak performance and transform our reality with a differentiating value, we need to nurture and to educate ourselves in these three strengths. Okay, creative curiosity, pattern discovery, and agile co-creation. Okay, so far we've been talking about these three huge strengths: personal mastery, right, thriving growth, and reality enabling. And where are the others? And here they come. So we are convinced, and again, this is Anthropology 101, human beings, we are binding beings. No one of us can grow and actually become a peak performer or be happy at last by himself or being alone. That's human nature. We are made to connect. We are made to grow living with others. So, how are your relationships? How are your core relationships and your other relationships? How are you building these bonds? Are the bonds in your life like really powerful? And what do we mean about powerful bonds? Powerful bonds is a bond that make you grow. A powerful bond is a bond full of energy. A powerful bond is a bond full of connection, and the kind of connection that make you grow and make the other grow, right? So we need to understand that connections, bonds, are living creatures, right? A connection is something that is something new when two persons come together, because there was a me here and a me here, and then when we connect, there's a third reality coming up, which is us. And that third reality needs nurturing. It's like a plant that you need to water and need to protect and need to take care of and need to clean. It's exactly the same. It's a whole new living reality. So there is no way that we can convert, we can turn our connections in powerful bonds if we do not nurture them. And the more you nurture it, the more powerful it becomes. Okay, understanding powerful by helping you and the other to grow. And the word, our word, is like the main connection tool. So we need, if we want to be peak performers, we need to master this ability, this human ability called dialogue. Okay, it is not an easy thing. It is, and maybe because we think, as we all speak, we think we all have a good dialogue mastery, and that is not true. There's a huge difference between speaking and dialoguing. There's a huge difference between knowing how to speak and being able to really connect with the other through a word. So all of this is like, it's a sequence. All this ends in this engagement booster. And what do we mean about engagement booster? Well, we need to fill these bonds with positive emotions that really allow us as fuel to grow. And you may see like the health of a bond if it really um, if it really if it really pushes you to grow. That is what we mean about engagement booster. How much your relationships boost you up, how much your bonds are really a source because of your commitment with that person, with your team, or whoever you want to speak about. How much is that commitment powering your life? So that's powerful bonds, okay? And that's our fourth strength. And that takes us to a very, very important one: integral alignment. What does this mean? Well, we have spoken about how our world is a very challenging world, right? Because there are a lot of things that are going on, and because there are a lot of things that you can distract on, or you can be distracted by. So if we want to be peak performers, we need to be aligned. And actually, executive firms speak a lot about um, integral, about awareness and alignment. And I actually think that that is very, very important. There's no way. Do you remember this metaphor of the horse? There's no way that you can, once you have like mastered the horse, well, you need to ride the horse. And you can only ride that horse if you are absolutely aligned. Where do you want to go? Try to ride a horse like saying, okay, now to the right, now to the left, now stop, now go ahead. The horse will be like very annoyed, right? So you need a sharp vision. You need to understand clearly, what do I want in life? And here, let me make a second metaphor. I'm pretty convinced from what I've seen in different cultures and different persons that human life is like this rope that has to be like tensed, um, and it's like tied to two stakes. So you have these two stakes, and this is the rope. So if your life is not tensed, then it will be loosed and you will not be able to walk because this rope will not like will not hold your existence weight, right? But if it's tense with a healthy existence tension, you will be able to walk. So how can you tense this rope? Well, these two stakes are the clue. First stake is who am I? And second stake is who I want to become. Okay. So if you start with personal mastery, with this enhanced self-consciousness and being very, very committed to understand who am I with this brave vulnerability and okay, and and you have a sharp vision of who you want to become, then your life and you recall this daily, then your life will be like this rope that is like very um, healthy tensed. Okay, and once you start walking, then you will have this experience of fulfilling balance because there are a lot of things that we have to balance in our life, right? And there's no, again, there's no unique recipe for this balance. But what will make you able to find your own balance is this sharp vision that aligns your life. And then you need virtuous coherence. What is virtuous coherence about? Well, is that ability, that strength that we develop in our lives to really walk the talk, right? So if I really want to get there, well, so I will align my life and my system and my efforts to walk the talk. It's gotta be virtuous because it's not an easy thing to do. And one of the factors, one of the elements that we've studied a lot in different cultures in today's world is how easy is today to get derailed. Derailed because there are a lot of things that you can be distracted about. So integral alignment means to be focused in what you really want to achieve. Okay? And that takes us to our sixth strength, which is transcendent experience. Okay, life is not only about ourselves. And if you study anthropology or if you study philosophy, what you will learn is that there are like many philosophers and along human history that have held this position. They say, hey, if you live your life only for yourself, you will end like diminishing your own existence. You will end like being very tiny person because there's this characteristic of human nature which is openness. There's this characteristic of human nature with is not only relating with others but giving ourselves to others. And it happens that that characteristic makes life happier. So there's this paradox, right? Human life and human nature is we are all mysteries, right? And one important characteristic of a mystery is the paradox, which is an apparent contradiction. And one of human paradoxes is that we are happier making happy the ones that we love, right? So it's an apparent contradiction because you can say, well, but how is that about? Because so in order to be happy, I have to make other happy, and that's the apparent contradiction because you do not have to make the other happy. What happens is that you discover that your own happiness is made of others' happiness. So to transcend is to go further of ourselves. To transcend is to be able to have a purpose-driven life. Okay, and that purpose is not only about myself, it's about creating a legacy, impacting others, right? It's like it's choosing not only to personally succeed, but choosing to be significant to others, choosing to matter, choosing to building something that really serves others, and that leads us to spiritual connection, and that spiritual connection with ourselves, with the others, and with others. So it's I am pretty sure that there cannot be uh, a personal path of growth if you only remain in yourself. And if you study all big human cultures, you will see that the biggest ones have put in some way, somehow, this transcendent experience as part, as an intrinsic part of its organization, of society organization. And at last, our seventh strength is joyful wellness. What does this mean? It means that, hey, we have to have fun in this path. If we want to grow, then we need some human realities to be present. Because if not, growth will not appear and will not arouse the same way. Okay, so joy is not a luxury in growth. Joy and wellness are not to like nice to have elements in growth. Joy and wellness are an intrinsic elements, are two intrinsic elements in growth. And what do we need to grow in this joyful wellness? Well, we first of all need positive sense of humor. We need this how can I say it? This lightness of a spirit, this ability to joke about ourselves and joke about reality, and we need this ability, and it doesn't have to be funny, okay? It's just this ability to be able to understand life with this positive sense of humor, with this lightness of spirit. And we need to celebrate, okay? Celebration of our achievements, celebrations with our these powerful bonds, celebration in order to continue to grow. Celebration is a very, very important element in today's life. And this pandemic has put us in a difficult point in this celebration thing, right? But it's a necessity in human life, and we need authentic gratitude. There's like a logic in life that if you can see all this journey, we are not alone. We do not build only for ourselves. We need the others, and we need to help and to serve the others. Okay, so gratitude is a very, very important piece of this puzzle, because gratitude is this ability to recognize that a lot of things in my life are gifts. So my interior attitude will be of really recognizing or realizing that I've been blessed, because a lot of things, a lot of good things converged in my life. So it is what it is right now. And from that gratitude point will come like two important consequences. First, a deeper feeling, a deeper need to like return that blessings or that positive experiences. And second, with that gratitude will come a deep need or a deep experience of joy, because when I realize that I'm not alone, and when I realize that I've been blessed, what arouses in ourselves is joy. So, as I said at the beginning of this strength, joy and wellness are not nice to have things. Are it's a strength that we need to build in our lives to become peak performers. So these are the seven strength that we propose. And I what I encourage you to do is to see, okay, in this point of my life, which of these strengths do I need the most? At this point of my life, and at this point of the system where I live, my family, my team, my company, whatever, what do I need the most? To what do I need to grow in order to become a peak performer?